Hello and welcome. It is the 29th day, at least the completion of such 2020. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and the such. Well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. All right, as it goes in here, this is Bitcoin on the 3-hour time frame, and this was just some interesting microscopic volatility in here, where we go like this, and then just a little bit of an upgrade doing all of this, and then the new change of the story, which was this elevator right up, one sideways consolidation period, and we're 2/3 given this is a 3-hour time frame, 1 hour 3 minutes left. It is 9:56 p.m. Eastern time as I'm doing this. But yeah, another little bit of a sideways consolidation towards this. Now we went over this with all the multiple markets, but it basically got above the 61.8% level from this high to this low. That's a big new statement in this point. Really giving you the announcement that this was a failed breakdown. This is the most confidence I've been since probably around in here that Bitcoin was going to make it. And that is, when the whole situation in the late February, early March stages was going on, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a black swan event. This probably shouldn't be bad for Bitcoin. And even when this happened, I was thinking the same. Now, of course, if it was, I would have said it and made a bunch of changes. And I would have made a bunch of trades, of course, in turn. I barely sold much at all. I paid for a couple grocery bills here and there. That was it. So, and literally for some, and some of it hasn't even been bought, and some of it hasn't even arrived yet, meaning it's still in the mail. So many different ways. I bought some, just in case, if I'm wrong and I could have got a better price, which I could have, so be it, because I got a very good holding of the main things that I think you need to have, that I think people should have. It's my opinion, of course. You have cryptocurrencies, you have precious metals, and you have fiat currency for your country. And whatever you need to buy your ass, buy whatever, it's there. And I don't want to buy anything in gold, so if I'm going to buy anything, I have no problem using 3 methods of payment: cash, crypto, or silver. Because for what it's worth, I got a more than I would need for each one for any whatever purchase, and still be in good shape kind of deal, which is, like, again, why I sold just a little bit. And a lot of it actually was sold before this happened. I sold some down on this point. That's where I would, or was it? I think it was on the way down, like closer to it wasn't at this 8,000 level. It was like, as it was breaking down. And that was interesting because on this date, I don't even have to scroll back, this was the Rudy Gobert date. And for hours and hours, I'm watching the market and thinking, hey, it's not crashing. And, later on it did. And should have, could have, would have kind of deal. But with that being said, we take a look at this next on, say, a monthly chart. And I'm going to actually switch this over to weekly. I've already removed that drawing. I'm going to redraw it back in again. It's not going to be that straight. You know what? I need to see this. Let's go in here. This was my last drawing from before. I'm just going to paste it like this and put in a trend line. Different color. Let's go black. I kind of have to hit this high here, but yeah, we're not that. That's what I was saying in the last video. It's not that far away. But really, as we go at it, you got this trend line here, I suppose. You almost take a look at it as in it's looking to break this as resistance, and yet it's resisting this at the same time. Oh, is this a failed breakdown? Maybe sort of. But the way I'd rather do it, which is the way I did it before, is, I guess I need to go back with these lows in here. Yeah, you really gotta, understand the situation of, I mean, this has been just a fantastic uptrend. Like, where's the support bit in this? This, and then you have a move into here. And I'm not going to draw up to the other line, but because you kind of could draw to those peak lines up and then start to decline it again. But knowing what happened after the fact, and even in here, I could just sideways go like this. And these have just been the pattern of the higher lows. And for the highs, I mean, again, we're just coming up to that point. Getting the price action in anywhere in this price is a clear break of this downtrend. It's still got to break it. I think it will, and then to do that, we can see a clear numbers like, well, even at 13,000, you're still not over this level of resistance. So 15, 16,000. I mean, there really wasn't much action here when you take a look at it. Price action has hardly ever been above 16, so you're at the all-time highs. Most likely when you get up there, you're going to be up there at an overextended level. Sort of like where on the daily chart, you're going to see in the 18 average just rising and the price action just like way above it kind of deal. Like we see on Bitcoin on the daily. It's going to look maybe not as extreme, but to the degree, or hourly I should be stating, because daily is a breakout. So like on the hourly, how it just, like, yeah, you see it just goes straight up to that point. It's so common to me, like, yep, we're at a key level where this is a spot where like you want to buy if it breaks 8,600. And I'm not saying you did here, I'm just saying hypothetically. It's just, oh yeah, what do you do here? Do you buy here when it's overextended, realizing it could easily pull back and just going to do it later? And in case if this, I mean, more times than not, I don't know the answer to it for those situations, hence that's not how I trade. But anyway, I'm spending more time than I wanted to on Bitcoin. Let's go to some altcoins. And the first one I'm going to show is Ethereum, and I'm going to just go against the US fiat currency. I haven't shown it in a while and really not as much lately. Big reason is that I'm not trading. It was requested in via comments recently, and therefore I'm going to put it up on the screen, and let's start off. So we'll start off with against the dollar, long-term time frame, monthly chart, key highs, key low. Well, big, man, that's not, I didn't mean to shake it like that. Just get my drawing tool, which is this in here, but I got to click this twice, and if I click it once, I do it, it doesn't see it as I click, I guess, and it just moves the screen. That's the reason why it did that. So the big high and big low, but along the way, you had an intra move here to here. We have a little small one here, and they were all little. They were basically each time, this was weak resistance here, weak resistance here. For the long term, this even looks like as basically this is as weak as it gets to a degree. And I mean, we're seeing something go from like 1,000 or 10x, and it's like, yeah, no, barely a move. I mean, when you consider a retracement, point A to point B, this is where it's went down to. But with that being said, since this low has been established, moving from this high, it's established this high either yet to be retested or almost. But really, it's just been staying in this consolidation. It has for quite some time, you could say during this period, and even during this period with what has been a failed breakout here that has yet to have a fast move lower. Because to me, I like to presume when a failed breakout happens that it would have like a move like down to here at least, and it didn't do that. So obviously, you could say it still can or possibly could in the sense that you're in a point A high, yeah, did it again. Point A high, or point A low, point A B, and we've been in the, we'll just say story C, sideways correction. You break this, we're likely to go to here, maybe even break higher. We break this, we're looking to go for probably a 61.8% correction from this high to this low. So that's basically it for this, and I think best most likely scenario is that's going to break higher. As if crypto, a lot of the big things with altcoins to me is, I say to the question to myself, if Bitcoin works, meaning it goes to 15,000, 20, 30, 60, 80, and so on and so forth, is this altcoin going to work? Is it going to survive? And to me, I think the answer with Ethereum should be that of yes. Here's just more of this sideways consolidation from that high. This was a support it established. I'm going to make sure I click it twice to get to this level. because it got to this, resisted this high. It never even seen the 18 average of highs until it hit the low. It kind of seen it here, but it most certainly resisted it. This is normally where I would say showing strength at the 18 average of highs, and although it had to move leg higher, I hate to say it when it's in a downtrend, but regardless of the fact, when you see something like this, hey, it's an interesting scenario. And then it's a little bit of a high, low, and then making this high, which again, kind of tested it here, but not really. Failed break it, and then it has this failed move, fast move lower. But this here, we can see failed breakdown here, and now escaping this. Does it have the potential for a fast move? But regardless, getting out above this level of resistance, probably make a move towards, I would think, in the around near 800. I think would be 700, even 7 to 800 would be just a little quick. But I think the best one, the best answer, and I can quickly calculate this, is high divided by low. That's 1450. Easy round number. Divided by the low, which would be near 100 here. 8, not even that near, but even below 80. We'll say 82. So that number divided by that to the root of 0.618 multiply 82 comes up to that of 484. Okay, interesting. Well, then 76.4 would be next. That doesn't look right. Anyway, 736. Yeah. Okay, let's just look at this from a different perspective. 38.1. Yeah, from this low, obviously, I am using, which low am I using? $80. Yeah, is this the correct log scale? It probably is. Should be. I mean, yeah, it would be. 484 is 61.8. Well, it hasn't hit 44 either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But here, this is why I would think it's a 76.4 hit rather than 61.8. Yeah, this is okay. Sorry for all this delay. This is me just doing this like in the live scenario because I didn't practice this in advance at all. I mean, I probably should have, but whatever. Because we have a move here, I'm going over the situation that a break of this area is going to have a good leg. Quite frankly, this is not a good move. I've talked about that 3 little bears scenario. Well, with key high, the key high, key low, key high, and the key break of that, I would expect again to be in here, which there, the 700, that represents the 76.4. So it wouldn't surprise me if it has a fast move up to 736 and then we get some sort of pullback down to 484. Something like that would be one of the possible scenarios to look at. Now, from this point on, I'm going to go to Binance because I'll have better short-term data to work with along the way because you've got pretty much most of the same here. But I mean, this is better data. All right, so here's a situation where I can tell just by looking at this that this is doing the same thing Bitcoin is doing from this high to this low, and that's breaking a 61.8%, even near looking to break 76.4. Fibonacci level saying the same sort of deal, saying that it's a failed breakdown. But this is at an interesting level because now we're at this, oh my goodness, we supported this for quite some time after this big fall. Now we're having this rally, many higher highs and higher lows, definition of trend for uptrend bull markets type deal. Do we get any type of pullback? Because bullish, this is a spot where it's bullish or bearish to sell off. Now I don't know what's going to happen. And we might have weak resistance if we do. Weak resistance means maybe all we do is come back somewhere around here. And when you look at it, that's going from 217 to like 191 or 192. That's losing like maybe 14%. And if that's a good play for you, then, well, obviously the shorter term time frame is where you're going to need to look a lot more at as well, which I'll do. But we don't know if there's going to be resistance here. It's known until after the fact. We do know that next key levels after that is 244, and then again at that at 287. And then for retracements, whatever this low happens to be, which is going to around that 80 mark, 84, to whatever the high happens to be, right now in at 217, then you would just put the Fibonacci 23.6% down. That's one of the first levels. Then 38.2%. Of course, when you're looking at the calculation, if you're looking for down moves, 23.6 down represents this. And you should know that just by seeing the higher number too when you do any type of calculations, if that's the type of stuff that you're doing. Let's move on. Let's say go down to... look at the 8 hour, which has just been chugging the moves along the way. There hasn't been much for pullback. So again, weak resistance term. This one here has been one of the better ones, which was a great thing because it established a level of resistance after breaking this one that was before. And it had many hits at this point. And then nice, clear, concise, an elevator being one of the more common moves up. And then good move. Now to three little bears. This is what I'm saying. This is probably not going to top here. It didn't. That's why I say it's like pretty terrible to sell here because you're probably going to know it's going to go higher. And then you have your pullback. I don't know. It was one of those weak came back to where you came from because the first stage is coming back to this high, which it did, and multiple times at that. The next stage is coming back to like 138. No, it didn't do that. So that's like holding the 18 as well as it did because the only time that since this breakout that it has went below the 18 and it didn't do anything really was just this in here. Because then you barely break this high, but that was just successful correction. And then resist this area. And overall, what you were doing in here, holding and staying above, was supporting this level. That's when I use the words holding and staying above. That means you could have a little bit of this section pierce below or above, depending what you're doing, and then regain it. And then having all of this time in here. And then again, this here supporting this level of resistance and then having this break it on here on the 8 hour. Very, very good situational play there. Single hour term time frame, just this very long sideways consolidation from this April 25th rally. And then when you break it, clear, concise move. There's still no evidence yet of this move ending. In fact, if anything, the evidence is showing that potentially this could continue to go stronger because we went to this high, had a little bit of a correction here. Didn't have a great rally from this point, but we did retrace some of its move. Higher low from this key, very important. But it has only one period of sideways action, but it's been doing this nice little move, retracement from this low to this high, we can see is very, very productive. That's why I say short-term analysis. Now we can take a look at the 15 and see more towards that. And well, interesting volatility because the sellers came into play, but the buyers bought it right back up again. And the sellers came into play again here. Buyers bought it back up. Sellers sell it down, instant buy into the 18. Now they buy it again. And well, the sellers really haven't done too much because it's came back to that area in which it has come from. Well, I'm spending a lot of time on this, but you know, this is fun actually. That's why I like doing this. Oh, by the way, this is cool. A lot of you pretty much know that I've been betting or using, I've been betting my whole life, but I've been making wagers on fantasy baseball and hockey. But of course, the downtime with the current situation has sucked. Started next week, Korean baseball. And I was watching Wager Talk TV, which is a YouTube channel. Of course, they're in the same business. Like, okay, we're like out of business for the most part. And they have an interview with Jim Feist, someone who I've been reading stuff from Jim Feist going back to the 1990s. That's how long he has been in the business. And he's talking about betting on Korean baseball, and I'm thinking, come on, I'm on DraftKings, get it up there. I mean, and I didn't email them, but they did. So the 5th at 1 o'clock in the morning, basically the 4th day of May, I'm back in business, and I want my job back in this because trading markets, that's one of it. But quite frankly, it's such an extreme part-time job, doing what I do, trading on the markets. And that's what I love about this. I feel as a truck driver, as a dentist, or any profession that you so be it can have, where you don't even do any of this stuff. You don't even know charts. You just have a computer that tells you what the ratio of coins are and then make your trades. It's not that much work. Even doing what I do, looking at the markets over and over during the day, and then how many trades have I made today? 1 or 2? Two, I think. But it's been more and more lately, but even then it's not that much work. Yeah, there's wild days, but I can manage fantasy sports and that. But yeah, Korean baseball is back. If there's a situation, I can tell you tomorrow, I actually can find ways. It's easy to build your bankroll up from nothing and build it up. I don't know if it's going to be available for the month of May. I'll find out tomorrow probably. But if you're interested, I can, for free, explain how to do it. I could not give away my baseball and hockey strategy for, it'd be very expensive for it, because it is premium, amazing information. I love it. But it's back in business for me, so I've been excited because I found out about that just within the last hour. Yeah, so Ethereum, pretty much the same sort of deal, higher highs, higher lows. Good pullbacks in here. We've been resisting this level of support. But at the same, I mean, I hate when that does that. From this high to this low, it still hasn't, it can still give back a decent amount mathematically and still give a 61.8. Because to me, the must hold from this high to this low is like around here, looking at it from this time frame. But let's just now move on to the more normal stuff. And I don't even know why I put up the old school Poloniex stuff. I want to go Binance because the charts will look a little bit better. And the pullback today is just one of those cases where, oh, down 3.2% when Bitcoin was up like over 10. It was one of those days where Bitcoin was up like 12%. Look at like every altcoin. Down 4%, 6%, 7%, 8%, maybe 2%. Not DGB, as it had a good day, but great moves against it. And I got a lot of stuff to go over. And we're like 20 plus minutes in, but I don't mind making long videos. And if I don't make them as often, I kind of like, sort of, whatever. Let's go on to shorter term time frames. So, oh my goodness, all this resistance here. I mean, talk about establishing like 2583. And it has been clearly breaking below this level. But again, like with support in here and here. Next key level, just obvious is this point in here. Just like this would have been obvious, and it was in here. So this key level. Then below that, I mean, there's like no support you could say here. And there really isn't much. So Fibonacci in here, maybe like a higher low to this point. Like we can almost call it like a 50% in between, sort of like. But that's, of course, like next after that. So on and so forth. And like just really short term, 15 minute if you're day trading this. What does this mean? This means a lot. This is a major eye watcher, I think is a good name for it. Eye watcher is in, well let's just see where we were from this high. Lower highs and lower lows, and quite a lot of them. It did have a breakout of this good move, establishing this resistance almost. It kind of had a chance here to test it again. It never did, establishing this little range. And the must hold areas is right here. It didn't hold it. Look what happened. I mean, not always when it doesn't do it, it's going to have something like this, but in this case, it sure did. And amongst such, after resisting in here, big move lower, we resist where we come from. Okay, so this is in a downtrend, and it stays in a downtrend, so you at least first need to see this flatten out. Check mark. And this is why I say wait and see. If you wanted to go long, this is, if you see this thing break in 24/7 handle, this, like a clear break above it, ooh, I'm antsy to go long in a setup like this, because this is telling me that it's probably going to, I mean, if it breaks above this after doing this, it's probably even going to proceed higher. But I've also seen situations where it may just extend this range, and then this, it never really does get above this resistance, which is why I would say I'd want to wait for a move. And you know what? I got day trading currency available. Let's do it. I mean, that's not what I want to push. 24738, yeah. An alert. And if it does, I'm probably going to go long here. And then just play the position from that point on. Unfortunately, and I understand it, because I mean, I don't think those things were right anywhere. Those 3x funds are gone, because I would play one of those 3x funds. That's just the type of risk reward. You like the word, you as in the public like the word gambler. You know what? If gambling, by definition, is investing. Taking, oh man, I'm using that word. Let's not use that. It is taking a risk, wagering for some form of capital, some form of asset to win more back on an event of uncertainty. Uncertainty is defined as anything that does not contain a 0 or a 100% probable chance of occurring. I guess we have to gamble in life because almost everything has between 0.00001% and 99 point many nines. Okay, I'm done Ethereum. DGB, and let's just, I don't feel like pausing the tape. What do we got? There's been a lot of decent gains. I mean, Theta's pulled back a little bit. It was up like 4%. Bitcoin Cash was up a bit too. I mean, it's got a nice little breakout in here. Nice little convincing move above the 15. And so far, it's such a decent amount of consolidation. And it's been in a downtrend on the daily term. And from this low, it's pretty much in this must hold area for if it doesn't, maybe it has a decent size fall. Now, this is just like not much data, but I got Binance because that's like what I trade from, and it's a bigger one. If I want more data, I can go to like Huobi and see that it's been getting its ass kicked. But a lot of it has been, it was very highly sought after from the start, and that caught me huge by surprise. And it took a long time for me to sink it in. And I do love this coin. I think it's got great potential moving forward. And I predict, this is my prediction. So this is really two predictions here. That, let me just go up to here and draw in where I think the price is going to go to because it's higher. Here. Yeah, I teased it a little bit. No, I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. I think Bitcoin's going to be worth more than Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin Cash should be worth more than Bitcoin at some point, which means this would have to go to 1. And it's interesting because that's where I say two predictions. I also think that Bitcoin Cash will be the first cryptocurrency to be worth more than Bitcoin. And when I say that, I mean via market cap. It just happens to work that Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin have the same supply. So it's really easy to compare the two using this measure here. Okay. DGB I got to go over. It's been, man, the pullback has worked out. I'm not going to say fantastic, but given the fact that, well, pretty much every single one of these green candle updates, because I trade this with GRS, which pretty much has been sideways to down, pretty much barely down. But either way, I've been selling DGB on the way up. And as I trade with my ratios, if I get a lot in a row, it becomes problematic for me. Meaning, I either got to sell out or find a way to adjust my strategy because I'm a little aggressive with how much I sell. Meaning, if a market will move, a ratio of mine will be like 15% from last trade. I got no problem taking 20%, even a bit more of what I own of that coin and then selling it for the other coin. On a 13% move, selling 16% of what I own, and so on and so forth. Anyway, as it goes, I kind of like how this looks on the daily term time frame, how it's breaking up. But anyway, this red candle down day, I had a buyback. And this red candle down day, I had a buyback. And I've already sold DGB on the way up once already here. But the way it works out, and I looked at my numbers earlier today, and it's just so nice to have this pullback, that if I get to this top again here, that I'm going to be in much better shape for my financial situation of DGB that I own than I'll be at this on so many levels because I was panicking a little bit. I mean, what it worth? I mean, concerned is a better word. And I'm in, like I say, for that reason why I was concerned, I'm in better shape for it now, which is pretty damn cool. The volatility has been kind of sick. But what's sickest is the fact that I don't get up early enough in the morning. You can see here how this got up to like 225, but this is like 5 o'clock in the morning. This is the move in here. 6 o'clock. I was in bed. Anyway, is there anything else? Ripple, not really. Tezos is just doing its thing, yada yada, nothing much. I mean, it's not breaking out, but it hasn't really broke down either. Yeah, just a bit of a retracement, nothing too big, but definitely doing well. Higher highs and higher lows. There's a key high, key low, key high, key low, and whatever this high happens to be. Right now, it's practically a matching high. I mean, pierced below, but pretty much a matching one. We don't know yet, but I don't know yet. I don't know yet what this high is. Maybe you do, but I don't know how anyone could know. Meaning, are we going to break it? And then general area, what it's going to be? I don't think you can know. To me, and that's exactly why I'll just wait and whatever happens. Like, if this rallies, I just hope I can wake up in one of these days, like, especially like an H-bar, come on and have like an 80% up day, and I know exactly how I'm going to play those because I've practiced for those situations and I've prepared for how I'm going to handle each situation. Sort of like if you're like coaching football, just figure out as many situations as you possibly can, and then figure out how would I handle that. And that's game theory, and game theory is something I admire, as I'm a huge fan of it. Again, that's why I kick ass playing fantasy sports, the game theory that I use in fantasy baseball and hockey, and I try in other sports to use game theory to my advantage, and soccer, getting there. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.